Hey there, and welcome to today's video. For today's video, we're going to be building a botanical garden. Now, I had a request to build a greenhouse, and I was debating, could you make that into a house? And while yes, you could, I really wanted the building to just be all glass, and that was it. I didn't want to make anything that had internal walls, and I thought it's been a while, so why don't we classify this as a park and make it a community lot? Now, if it was up to me, this would be only landscaping and greenery, and then that would be all the requirements it needed. But for it to classify as a park, there are some bathrooms that are necessary, and some things like a chess table, and even some playground equipment. But the playground equipment, I actually ended up just covering in greenery as well, and decided to make it a bit of an archway for the bench, let's put it that way. Now, I did cut out most of the landscaping outside since it was just a lot of copy and paste, but I left the landscaping that I did on the inside, which on the inside I didn't want it to be just a repetition of what was on the outside, so I tried to do things a little differently. One of the areas does look similar, but then there's an area where there's a few more like tropical trees or something that you would find more in Oasis Springs, and the other area just had some topiaries. So I tried to make it a bit different, but it does look a little sparse. So I was kind of debating. Some of the reference pictures that I was using had some very manicured green spaces, whereas it was just grass, for example, and then maybe there was a few flowers down the row, and that was it. So I figured being a little sparse makes sense in this scenario. Now, clearly, for something like this, I wanted as much variety as I could get, so I ended up using debug items, but it's all still within base game, and you might have noticed that I'm using something a little different to either expand the menu or filter things out better. Now, this is actually a mod that I installed just because I was going to be doing this build, but I'll keep it on as long as EA doesn't actually break the mod. Typically, whenever there's an update to the game, it will break them, but for now it works, so I'll keep using it. So for anyone who's interested, this mod is Twisted Mexie's Better Build By, and it's been updated over time to do a variety of things. So at this moment, as of today when you're seeing this video, it is able to filter out stuff that is in debug, which has all been cataloged, meaning it has a name so you can find it easier and you can actually use the cloning tool on it. You can also filter out what is maxes, meaning what is in the game by default, and you can even filter out by custom content. So it really lets you find things easier since these are filtering categories that Maxis doesn't have on the game by default. It also differentiates from items that are hidden objects versus life edit objects, so if you only want to use one or the other. For reference, I typically use both at the same time, since hidden objects will be things like collectibles, for example, and live edit objects will be the items that you can see throughout the world that you can't actually use in the game. So those are the games that your Sims will sometimes phase through, but for decorative purposes, they're really good. The mod can also automatically turn on move objects for you every time that you open the game, so it can have it there permanently instead of you having to put in the code every single time when you start up the game. It also has deletion protection, which I believe is like when you go and delete a wall, for example, and then it deletes a whole room. Or when you go and delete a table, it leaves the items hovering, I believe. I honestly haven't used that one too much to be able to see what it actually does. But I believe it also has the ignore gameplay unlocks entitlement, which basically would be for your Sims to be able to grab any item no matter if they're in that career or not. I might be mixing up what is what right now, but I'm pretty sure it was those four. All in all, it's just a miraculous mod that even lets you change the lighting in build mode. For those of you that are not aware, lighting changes are something you can only do in live mode with a sim on the lot. So being able to do this in build mode is pretty cool. But anyways, we are getting close to the end of this video. Do let me know down below what you think of this one. It was a really cool request to be asked to try to build a greenhouse and then be like, well, but what if it's a botanical garden altogether? So do let me know what you'd like me to try out next, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a great weekend!